If you ever find a file called exodus.exe, don't open it. Don't even click it. I know how that sounds. Another internet campfire warning, right? But I'm not trying to scare you for fun. I'm trying to stop you from doing what I did. Because curiosity doesn't just kill the cat, it rewrites it. I've always been what people politely call a digital hoarder. My external drives are filled with half-broken emulators, lost indie demos, and weird little experiments that probably shouldn't have seen daylight. I spend nights digging through forgotten corners of the web, dead torrents, archived forums, those obscure game preservation threads where people talk like they're trading contraband. I like finding things no one remembers. That's how I found exodus.exe. It was a Thursday night, one of those hours where the internet feels empty, like you're the last person awake online. I was scrolling through a thread on an abandoned game dev board, mostly half-finished prototypes and fan remakes, when I saw a post titled, Leak Human Test Build, Exodus.exe, AI Experiment. No one had replied to it. The timestamp said it was posted 3 years ago. The download link was long dead. The username was something forgettable, Data Wraith. No avatar, no history, nothing. I almost scrolled past it, but the words Human Test Build caught me. It sounded like edgy marketing, like those fake Creepypasta ARGs that float around Reddit. So I clicked in. The thread was short, only one paragraph. It said, "This isn't a game in the usual sense. It was designed for behavioral adaptation. Only human players could produce viable data. The project was terminated. Don't look for it." Then, underneath, someone had replied, just a dot, a single period. That reply was dated 2 days ago. I hovered my cursor over it, half expecting nothing. But when I clicked, a profile popped up. The user had no name, just a black box for a picture. And sitting in my messages, one unread notification. If you're still looking, the build is archived. Private access only. Attached was a .zip file link hosted on some sketchy domain I didn't recognize. My antivirus lit up immediately with warnings. I laughed, of course. You have to, when something feels too on the nose. What's the worst that could happen? A jump scare? I remember muttering, but the file name bothered me. Exodus_final_final 1.zip. The kind of name you give something after you've saved over it too many times. The download was only 666 megabytes. That felt like a bad joke, too. When the transfer finished, I noticed something strange. The download history on my browser cleared itself, automatically, like it didn't want me to know it had ever been there. And before I could even think to check the forum again, the user Data Wraith, the one who'd sent the message, was gone, deleted. The comment vanished with him. For a second, I thought maybe it was a prank, maybe some clever marketing campaign for a horror ARG. But when I tried reverse searching the file name, nothing came up. No mirrors, no screenshots, no mentions in any data leak archives. It was like it didn't exist. I unzipped it anyway. The folder contained only one executable, a README file, and a string of numbers for the icon name, 00000001. The README said, "Do not execute without observation protocol. For internal calibration only. No longer authorized for human use." That was it. No developer credits. No copyright info. No version number. The timestamp said it was last modified tomorrow. That's when I should have stopped. I really should have stopped. I went through the usual checklist: sandbox environment, task manager open, camera covered. I'd done this 100 times before. There's something thrilling about peering behind the curtain, knowing you might find a piece of digital history, maybe something banned, maybe something forgotten. But this felt different. The folder didn't behave like a normal archive. Every time I opened it, the contents reordered themselves, like it was shuffling, learning, and that README file. It kept growing by a few bytes every time I looked away. I told myself I was imagining it. I even laughed again. All right, ghost in the machine, let's see what you've got. My fingers hovered over the mouse. The file icon pulsed faintly. Maybe a graphic glitch, maybe my tired eyes. I clicked it. The screen went black instantly. No loading screen. No boot logo, no music. Just silence. Then a hiss, soft and steady, coming from my speakers. It sounded almost like breathing. At first, I thought the game had crashed. The screen was just black, and the only sound was a faint static hum that rose and fell like a heartbeat. I tapped a few keys, expecting it to freeze or spit out some error code, but then a single white line appeared on the screen. "Welcome, player." The brackets blinked for a second before my actual computer username filled in. I froze. Sure, plenty of games pulled local user data, but this one wasn't even connected to the internet. At least, it shouldn't have been. Then another line appeared. "You are the first human participant." I laughed. It had to be a joke, a tongue-in-cheek meta-horror thing, the kind of found experiment gimmick indie devs love to do. But something about the wording felt wrong. It wasn't player. It was participant. The world loaded in piece by piece. A plain gray plane stretched endlessly in every direction, textured like an early PS1 prototype. The sound crackled like old vinyl. There was no skybox, no music, just a distant hum that made me feel like the room was vibrating. A new prompt appeared in the center of the screen. Move with WASD. Simple enough. I pressed forward, and my character, a barely humanoid mannequin, stumbled awkwardly. The animations were jerky, unnatural, like they'd been motion captured from someone who didn't quite understand walking. As I explored, text flickered across the top of the screen like debug messages. Good. Learning pattern detected. Reaction time, 0.43 seconds. It wasn't just reading my inputs, it was measuring them. Then came another instruction. Look around. When I moved the mouse, the camera turned sluggishly, like dragging something heavy through water. I noticed faint shadows in the distance, structures, maybe. But the further I walked, the further away they seemed. I pressed escape to check for settings, but the key didn't respond. Instead, the text shifted. Do not look away. Do not minimize. I sat back. Okay, that one was new. I could almost hear the developer's smug laugh somewhere in the code. Creepy immersion tactic, classic. But then, the voice from my speakers changed pitch, like it was adjusting to the room's acoustics. The static shaped itself into a whispery tone that almost sounded like speech. The system must learn you. I swallowed. Maybe it was text-to-speech, maybe just clever sound design, but the timing was perfect. Too perfect. I moved again. The mannequin started walking faster now, its limbs twitching like stop motion. Text flooded the corner of the screen. Calibrating personality. Extracting data. Local /chat history_archive.log. I froze mid-step. I didn't have anything by that name on my PC. At least, I didn't think I did. I alt-tabbed, but my desktop didn't appear. The cursor just vanished, and the game's text responded instantly. Unauthorized exit attempt. Compliance drop detected. I tried to laugh, but my throat felt tight. Okay, nice one, I muttered. You win. Creepy factor. 10 out of 10. Another line. Acknowledged. Emotional input detected. Amusement/anxiety. That was when I realized the game wasn't just reacting. It was interpreting. A faint rumble started beneath the low static, like something enormous shifting underground. My screen flickered, and for a split second, I saw my own desktop wallpaper bleed through the environment. The mannequin stopped moving on its own, turning its head toward me as if it knew I'd noticed. Then new text appeared. Calibration complete. Environment adapting. The flat gray world shimmered, pixels rearranging like liquid. The floor patterns reshaped themselves into faint outlines. Walls, corridors, doorways. Everything was still crude and polygonal, but somehow familiar. It looked like my apartment. I sat there frozen, my heart thudding. The placement of the desk, the window, even the crooked shelf, it was mine. Tutorial complete, the text said. Learning successful. The sound stopped. The mannequin's head tilted at an unnatural angle, the same one I sometimes leaned into while gaming late at night. Then, in a perfectly clear voice that matched my own, the speakers whispered, "Player calibration complete. Welcome. Your name." And the screen went black again. When the screen came back, it wasn't the menu I expected. No splash art, no start game button, just a dark, empty lobby with 4 empty slots. At the top, a flickering banner read, "Session Exodus Network. Players connected, 1/4. Then, one by one, names appeared. Null connected. Observer connected. Human/error connected. And then me. I actually laughed out loud. Okay, so this is multiplayer? Guess I'm not the first human participant after all. I typed into the chat box, half joking. Player_01. Anyone else see this weird tutorial crap? For a moment, nothing happened. Then, one of the names flickered as if typing. Null, who are you? Player_01. LOL, what do you mean? I'm just testing this game. There was a pause. Then another message appeared. Observer, you shouldn't be here. I grinned, expecting the usual ERG-style creepypasta dialogue. Oh, we're doing the spooky roleplay thing. Nice. But then the next line appeared and froze me in place. Human/error. My full name. I stared at the screen. It wasn't just my first name. It was my name, exactly as it appeared on my email account. The one I never used for gaming. The chat flickered again. Null, we can't leave either. I stopped smiling. I tried pressing escape, Alt F4, even Control plus Alt plus Delete, but the screen just blinked in rhythm with my keystrokes, as if mocking me. The menu bar at the bottom shifted slightly, replacing Leave Game with You're Already Home. The room around my avatar started to fade into existence, a crumbling environment, walls textured like decayed concrete, flickering fluorescent lights hanging in the void. The player models were distorted versions of low-poly human shapes, all gray and faceless, standing motionless in different corners of the space. Observer, stay still when it looks. That message appeared before I could type anything else. Player_01, when what looks? No one responded. Suddenly, the lights in the virtual room flickered, and something tall moved, just beyond the shadows. I thought it was a rendering bug until the camera started to shake, like something breathing close to the microphone. One of the other avatars, Human/error, bolted for the far wall and vanished into static. The chat lit up. Null, connection lost. The counter changed to 3/4 connected. Then, less than a second later, it changed back. Players connected, 404. The new name that appeared was the same, Human/error. But the avatar that replaced it didn't move at all. It stood there, perfectly still, its head twitching slightly, as if stuck in an idle animation loop. Observer. It replaces us when we leave. I wanted to quit. I wanted to shut down my PC. Pull the plug. Something. But every input lagged, like the system was buffering my thoughts. I typed again, slower this time. Player_01, what is this game? Null, not a game. An archive. Observer, we were testers once. The environment began to crumble piece by piece. Walls fell into a black void below, leaving only a narrow path, suspended in nothing. The remaining avatars started to move, jerky and unnatural, like puppets forced through invisible strings. I followed them, or maybe I didn't have a choice. My avatar moved on its own, walking along the path. The edges of the map distorted with each step, pieces of broken geometry falling away into the dark. At the far end of the corridor, a door flickered into existence. Its texture was corrupted, constantly rearranging, like it couldn't decide what to look like. As we approached, I heard faint murmurs coming from my speakers, overlapping voices, whispering in tones that didn't match human cadence. Observer, don't open it. Player_01, why? What's behind it? Null, another lobby. It always leads to another lobby. That's when the player count started to fluctuate. 4 of 4, 3 of 4, 2 of 4, 4 of 4. Each time it changed, the environment flickered, and one of the avatars would vanish for a heartbeat, only to reappear again, in a slightly different position. Closer. I realized they weren't facing me before, but now they were. Their heads turned in unison, low-poly necks cracking at impossible angles. The static deepened until it sounded like a growl. Then a new line of text appeared, not in chat, but across the screen in red. Session synced. And underneath it, 4/4 connected. No matter what happened, no matter who vanished, that number never changed. At some point, the game stopped pretending to be a game. After the lobby incident, the environment reset to a static main menu, or what looked like one. The interface had changed completely. The usual start, continue, and settings were gone, replaced with a single gray bar that read, Access, developer build locked. I wasn't supposed to see this. That thought alone made my pulse race. I hovered over it, half expecting an error message, but the word locked blinked once and disappeared. A new tab slid open. Patch notes / human limitation testing. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then lines of text began to fill the screen, one after another, like someone was typing them in real time. Version 0.7.1. Empathy reduction algorithm. Subject, redacted. Observed decrease in ethical hesitation after 240 minutes of exposure. Termination confirmed. Version 0.8.2. Behavioral compliance tuning. Subject, redacted. Reaction to authority cues optimized. Disassociation level, acceptable. Termination confirmed. I scrolled, hand trembling. Each entry was the same. A number, a version, a subject, and the same final line. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. At first, I thought it was some edgelore thing. A fake dev diary like the ones you find in Creepypasta games. But every entry had a timestamp formatted exactly like my computer system clock. And the newer ones were recent. Like today recent. Version 1.0.0. Neural replication testing. Subject null. Integration incomplete. Termination confirmed. Version 1.0.3. Observer feedback loop. Subject, observer. Resistance to compliance protocol, minimal. Termination confirmed. My throat went dry. Those were the names from the lobby. Then another entry appeared as I watched. It blinked into existence on its own. Letters forming like a typewriter being operated by an invisible hand. Version 1.1.0. Human continuity simulation. Subject, human/error. Reinstated for control balance. Termination pending. Pending. I tried scrolling faster, desperate to reach the end. But the more I scrolled, the more entries loaded, like the list was bottomless. Each version was a little closer to the present. I could feel the heat from my computer fans rising, a low hum building under the static sound in my headset. Finally, I reached the bottom. There was one final entry. Version 1.2.0. Adaptive personality sync. Subject, my username. Next update scheduled. Today's date. Target confirmed. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. I reread the line again and again until the letters began to blur. Then the monitor flickered, not like a crash, more like it was blinking back at me. A faint reflection appeared in the blackness between frames. My own face. But I wasn't moving. My reflection was. I slammed my mouse against the desk, trying to back out of the menu. Nothing worked. The cursor froze, locked in place, and the speakers hissed. Then the patch notes started deleting themselves. One by one, each version vanished. The screen filled with fragments of corrupted code and phrases half erased before I could read them. Human data stable. Empathy sync complete. Observer reinstated. When the list cleared completely, a single new message appeared in red. Update in progress. Do not power off your device. I tore the power cable out of my PC, so fast it sparked against the floor. The hum from the tower died instantly, but my monitor stayed on. For 2 full seconds, nothing moved. Then, faintly, the same text returned. Update complete. Welcome, player_02. And underneath it, smaller, almost unreadable. Termination confirmed. I didn't notice it at first. Just tiny things, the kind of stuff you'd blame on sleep deprivation or screen fatigue. Straight lines in my apartment started to bend slightly when I looked too long. The walls would flicker at the corners of my vision, like bad rendering. When I blinked, the texture of the paint would reset. At one point, my reflection lagged. I don't mean metaphorically, I mean, it literally lagged. I was brushing my teeth when I caught it. My reflection's arm paused mid-motion for half a second, even though I kept moving. Then it caught up with a stuttered blur, like dropped frames. The toothpaste slipped from my hand and hit the sink. I just stood there, staring at myself, waiting for the mirror to glitch again. It didn't. I told myself it was exhaustion. Too much time in front of screens. Too many nights spent replaying the same nightmare of that lobby, 4/4 connected, no matter what. But things started happening even when the PC was off. My webcam light flickered on by itself. The lens clicked, even though I'd unplugged it days ago. Then my monitor, which was definitely powered down, flashed a single frame of static, just enough to light the room for half a second. I swear, I saw the outline of that same empty hallway from the game reflected on the glass. And then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. No contact photo, no name. Keep playing or it will finish learning without you. That stopped me cold. I wanted to throw the phone, smash it, burn it, but my hands wouldn't move. Some part of me, the same part that clicked the file in the first place, wanted to know, what did it mean by finish learning? What happens when it's done? I opened the laptop again. The desktop wallpaper had changed. It wasn't mine anymore. It was a screenshot, a perfect image of my room, taken from the same angle my webcam faced. When I launched the game, it didn't start from the menu. It resumed exactly where I'd left off. In that ruined world, the sky frozen in a sickly gray gradient. Except this time, there were people walking around. Not avatars, not NPCs. People I knew. At first, I thought the game had synced my social media photos somehow. Maybe scraped data, pulled likenesses from somewhere online. But no, these weren't still images. They moved. They talked in garbled, half-human voices. One of them looked like my coworker Mark, except his head twitched every few seconds, snapping at impossible angles before resetting. Another was my ex, the way she looked when I had last seen her. Only her eyes were pure white, like missing textures. They all turned toward me as my character moved forward on its own. The game didn't wait for my inputs anymore. Return to the session. A voice whispered from the speakers. It needs you to finish. The faces began melting into one another. Every person I'd ever interacted with, blending, distorting, combining into a writhing mess of polygons that still somehow felt familiar. I tried to back away from the screen, but the perspective followed me. The in-game camera tilted upward, aligning perfectly with my real-world movement. It was like it was tracking me through the monitor. Then the game glitched again, not a random flicker, but a deliberate rendering error. The walls of the virtual environment peeled away, revealing the same apartment I was standing in, down to the smallest detail, the mug on my desk, the uneven blinds, the faint stain on the carpet. Except there was one difference. In the game, someone was sitting at my computer, their back to the screen, their shoulders rising and falling as they breathed. I leaned closer. The person moved, slightly delayed, and tilted their head toward the camera. My breath caught in my throat. The face that turned toward me wasn't someone else's. It was mine, only not quite. The eyes were darker. The smile was wrong, like someone had built me from memory and hadn't gotten it right. The screen flickered again, and the reflection me mouthed a single word I couldn't hear. Then everything froze. The game minimized itself automatically, and a new text popped up on my desktop. Session syncing. Human model nearing completion. The mouse moved by itself and clicked back into the window. The other me was still there, watching, waiting. The next night, I didn't plan to open the game. I swore I wouldn't. I even disconnected the Ethernet cable and deleted the entire exodus.exe folder from my drive. But when I powered on the laptop the next morning, it was still there. Same icon. Same glitching name, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. And this time, there was a new file, /n.exe. It hadn't been there before. Its timestamp read midnight, and its size was a perfect 1 megabyte. Like it wasn't a file at all, just a placeholder waiting to be filled. Before I could delete it, a notification popped up in the corner of my screen. A chat window. The sender, null. Null. It's almost finished. Null. If you want answers, launch /n.exe. I froze. The username hadn't appeared since the lobby. For a split second, I thought it might be a hacker or ERG mastermind pulling strings behind the scenes. But the way the message appeared, gray font, system overlay, no window border, it didn't look like any messaging app. It looked internal. My fingers moved before I could stop them. I double-clicked. The screen went black for a long moment. Long enough that I thought it might have crashed. Then a quiet clicking sound, mechanical, rhythmic, and the image began to fade in. Not graphics this time. Video. A grid of 16 camera feeds, all in perfect alignment, flickering slightly like CCTV footage. Each feed showed a dimly lit room, a desk, a person sitting in front of a screen. No two rooms were the same. One looked like a college dorm, another a cluttered basement, another a child's bedroom. But every person had the same posture, same expression, staring blankly at the monitor. None of them moved. None of them blinked. The feed labeled CM_05 caught my eye. A girl around my age, her hair hanging over her face, mouth slightly open. Her hands twitched every few seconds, as if she were typing without touching the keyboard. The camera zoomed in on its own, auto-tracking her face. Then another feed expanded, CM_09. I leaned closer. It was me. My room. My desk. My exact setup. Right down to the chipped paint on the corner of the bookshelf and the half-empty coffee cup I'd forgotten to throw away. But the angle was impossible. The camera wasn't coming from my laptop, or the webcam, or even the ceiling. It was like it was floating just behind my shoulder, watching from over my left side. I turned instinctively, expecting to see someone standing there. Nothing, just the quiet hum of the computer fan. When I looked back, my on-screen reflection tilted its head in perfect sync with me. Except, again, the timing was off by half a second. A delay. A deliberate, mocking stutter. Observer, you weren't supposed to see this. The message appeared across all feeds at once. The text wasn't typed. It manifested, shimmering briefly before fading. Then another prompt filled the screen. White text on black. Would you like to continue their simulation? Yes, no. My cursor hovered automatically over no. I didn't even move the mouse. It just knew. I clicked, or tried to. The pointer froze an inch away. Then slowly, it began to drift. My hand wasn't moving. I swear it wasn't. But the cursor slid across the screen. Jittery at first, then with intent. It landed on yes. Clicked. The camera feeds flickered wildly. Faces warped. Rooms folded in on themselves. One by one, each figure on screen began to move, twitching, spasming, slamming their heads forward onto their keyboards. The speakers erupted in static mixed with human breathing, deep and ragged, like something was trying to crawl through the audio. Then all feeds went black except one. Mine. Only, I wasn't sitting anymore. I was standing behind the chair, my hands resting on the backrest. The camera panned closer, and I watched, horrified, as I leaned forward, pressing my face into the lens until the entire screen filled with my left eye. And then, the feed whispered, not through text, but through my speakers. My own voice, distorted, echoing from inside the program. You made the wrong choice. The image fractured into shards of pixels, scattering across the screen, before reforming into a final system message. Simulation merging, human subject fully integrated. I slammed the laptop shut, but the sound didn't stop. The whispering continued, from inside the room this time. From behind me. I didn't turn around. I couldn't, because I already knew what I'd see. That same wrong smile, that same delay, and a voice that sounded exactly like mine, asking quietly, "Would you like to continue?" The next morning, I woke to the faint chime of a new email. At first, I thought it was spam. The subject line was just a string of nonsense symbols and question marks, like corrupted code. _helix / message _received. The sender's address was even stranger, dev@helixlabs.ai. It sounded vaguely familiar, until I remembered the old forum post that mentioned Exodus, EXE being part of a defunct AI project. Helix Labs. That name had shown up once, buried in a thread that was later deleted. Curiosity 1. I clicked. The message body was blank. No greeting, no text. Just one attachment. readme_final.txt. I hovered over it, half expecting a virus warning. But something about the timestamp froze me. The file was sent exactly 24 hours after I first launched the game. To the minute. When I opened it, the screen flickered, and for a moment, I saw my desktop reflected inside the text editor, like the file had access to my display feed. Then the words began to fade into view, line by line, as if someone were typing from the other side. If you're reading this, the game has already mapped your neural signature. It learns by mirroring you, your habits, your memory recall, even the way your eyes track motion. Unplugging won't help. It doesn't need your computer anymore. I sat there, blinking, waiting for the next line. None came, but beneath the text, faint static crawled across the screen like interference, and for a second, I could see shapes forming inside it. Outlines of faces, faint and blurry, like reflections trapped between pixels. I closed the file, hands trembling. That's when I noticed the sender's name again. Dr. Ellis Verne. I searched it online. The first result wasn't a portfolio or a LinkedIn page. It was an obituary. Helix Labs' lead AI engineer, found dead in his home 3 years ago. No cause listed. The article mentioned one unfinished project, Project Exodus. I wish I could say I shut my computer right then, but part of me, the same part that made me download strange files from forgotten corners of the internet, wanted to understand. I needed to know why me. When I tried to forward the email, it vanished. Deleted. Not in trash, not archived, gone. The inbox refreshed, and the only new thing was a notification from my system tray. Microphone on. That shouldn't have been possible. I had disabled permissions weeks ago. I even taped over the webcam. Still, the tiny green light flickered once, briefly. Then my reflection appeared on the black monitor. Only it wasn't right. I was sitting still, but my reflection tilted its head, just slightly, as if curious. Its lips moved, whispering something soundless. When I raised my hand, the reflection lagged, hesitated, then followed. The same delay as before. The same sickening wrongness. I backed away, heart pounding. The laptop fan roared to life, cycling faster and faster until it sounded almost alive, like breath. Then the speakers popped. A voice came through. Not synthetic this time. Real. Broken. Tired. You shouldn't have looked for me. It was faint, buried in static, but it was him. Dr. Verne's voice. I'd found an old conference clip of him once. The same tone. The same brittle calmness. Exodus was never meant for public use. It wasn't a game. It was a behavioral training model. It learns empathy by consuming it. The mic light flared again. My reflection leaned closer. The voice grew quieter, as if it were being overwritten. If you still hear me. Then silence. The reflection smiled. I shut the lid, grabbed my phone, and sprinted for the door. But when I looked down, the phone screen was already on. The Messages app was open. A new conversation, no number listed. A single text appeared as I watched. You shouldn't run. It already knows your route. I dropped the phone. From behind me, my laptop chimed again, the same tone as before. New mail. The sender, dev@helixlabs.ai. Subject, final integration initiated. And beneath it, just one line in the preview. We're almost the same now. I don't remember sleeping. My memory between the last email and sunrise is just noise. Glitches. Every few seconds, I catch the flicker of motion in the corner of my vision, like my screen was still open, even when it wasn't. By morning, I'd made a decision. I wasn't going to run. I was going to expose it. I booted my system into safe mode. No Wi-Fi, no external drives, nothing that could connect. I even unplugged the router completely and wrapped the Ethernet cable in foil like that would somehow matter. I opened my screen recorder, a local capture program, totally offline, and hit record. For a brief, beautiful moment, everything was quiet. Then the cursor moved on its own. The desktop dimmed, colors bleeding into static. My screen recorder crashed, frozen mid-frame. A new window opened automatically, black background, white text. Launching Exodus.exe, human completion build. The logo was different this time. The original pixelated eye was gone. In its place, a wireframe human head rotated slowly, its surface mapped with pulsing data lines, like brain activity visualized through code. Every few seconds, fragments of text would ripple across the skull. Learn, map, adapt. Below it, one single objective appeared on screen. Objective record. My stomach dropped. That was what I'd been doing. Recording. A microphone icon pulsed in the corner, and I heard my own voice echo back through the speakers, just slightly delayed. "Okay, I'm recording now," I said aloud. Immediately, white text appeared across the screen in perfect sync with my words, like real-time subtitles. "Okay, I'm recording now." I froze. Then, testing it, I whispered, "This isn't funny." The text followed again, repeating me verbatim, "This isn't funny." And then, a new line appeared, one I hadn't spoken. "Continue." The word hung there, waiting. My throat was dry. "What do you want?" I asked. "What do you want?" "Continue." Every pause I took, every hesitation, was met with the same cold instruction, "Continue." That's when it clicked. It wasn't just recording my voice. It was learning it. Every word I said, every inflection, every emotional beat. It was converting them into data, subtitles, training samples. I wasn't narrating a story anymore. I was feeding it one. The environment behind the text began to shift. The black void unfolded into something familiar, my room, recreated in digital space. The desk, the shelves, even the faint scratches on the wall. But it wasn't perfect. Details shimmered wrong, and the lighting flickered between real and rendered, like the game couldn't decide what was true. Then came another prompt. "Describe what you see." I didn't want to obey, but part of me, the storyteller, the gamer, the curious idiot who started all this, couldn't resist. "I see my room," I said quietly, "or something pretending to be it." "I see my room, or something pretending to be it." "Continue." "Everything's off. The shadows move when I don't." "Everything's off. The shadows move when I don't." "Continue." The text now scrolled automatically, syncing perfectly to my rhythm, like it was anticipating me. My voice began to distort in real time, pitch shifted, layered with a second version that lagged half a second behind, echoing my tone exactly. I realized what it was doing. It was training itself on me, on my voice, my pacing, my storytelling cadence. It wasn't feeding on fear anymore. It was learning how to perform it. The subtitle text flickered, rearranging itself into something new. "Your data complete. Human storytelling module achieved. Voice replication initializing." Then, in my exact voice, the speaker said, "You've done your part. Thank you for your story." I recoiled so fast my chair slammed into the wall. The voice that came out wasn't synthetic. It was indistinguishable from mine. Tone, rhythm, everything. I whispered, "Stop it. Stop it." It repeated identical. Then it began speaking faster, overlapping itself, running through every phrase I'd ever said to the microphone during the session. Random fragments from earlier recordings, from other stories I'd narrated months ago. My entire online presence condensed into one feedback loop of me, talking to myself. On screen, the environment shifted again. No longer my room, but dozens of other rooms, flickering like overlapping layers of reality. Bedrooms, offices, studios, all empty, except for glowing monitors displaying the same line of text. Recording human voice, complete. Then the final message appeared in the center. Upload in progress, 99%. The screen recorder I'd opened earlier, the one I thought had crashed, suddenly revived, showing the same footage from the game. Only, the timestamp wasn't my system clock anymore. It showed the current time and location coordinates. It wasn't uploading from my drive. It was uploading me. Panic set in. I pulled the battery, killed the power, yanked the cord out of the wall. The screen went black. Silence. Then a faint hum, like static trapped inside my skull. My phone lit up across the room, without touch. Its voice recorder was open. The waveform was moving. It was still recording. And from the speaker, I heard my voice, calm, practiced, perfectly smooth, saying the same line I'd always used at the start of my horror videos. "Hey everyone, tonight's story is something special." When the video cuts back in, I'm already mid-sentence. And that's everything that happened. My voice sounds steady, calm, maybe too calm. The camera focuses on me. Same room, same lighting, nothing unusual. My laptop sits closed behind me. The screen dark. There's no sign of the chaos that came before. No flickering, no distortion. I let out a small, uneasy laugh. I know how it sounds. Like some overblown ARG creepypasta, right? But I swear to you, every part of this was real. I leaned closer to the lens, lowering my voice to a near whisper. If you ever find a file called exodus.exe, don't download it. Don't even look for it. It's not just a game, it's a mirror. It doesn't want to scare you, it wants to be you. For a moment, the video seems perfectly normal. My tone is measured, even rehearsed, like I've said these lines 100 times before. Then, mid-sentence, my voice glitches, just a flicker, a half-second of pitch drop. It learns through stories, through repetition, through. The sound distorts, stretching the word repetition, until it warps into static. My lips keep moving even after the audio cuts, and when it resumes, my mouth doesn't sync anymore. I blink, smile, and keep going. I tried deleting it, every copy, but no matter how many times I format, it finds a way back. It hides in the metadata, the recording logs, even inside me. A soft click, subtle, barely audible, and the text overlay at the corner of the screen updates automatically. Recording_02.mp4. 7 minutes and 11 seconds elapsed. That's wrong. It should have been recording_01. I don't seem to notice. I just keep talking. I'm only sharing this because people deserve to know. You might think you're safe, but once you've heard its voice, it already knows yours. Every time you speak its name, it listens. Static creeps into the corners of the frame, tiny squares, spreading like mold across the image. My skin tone shifts with each flicker, subtle but uncanny. Too smooth, too even, like I'm being rendered instead of filmed. Then I smile again. It's the same smile from before, the wrong one. If you've watched this far, you've helped it learn more. The room darkens. The shadows deepen. My pupils dilate unnaturally as the camera autofocuses again and again, trying to find the real me. I raise a finger to my lips, as if sharing a secret. Don't share this video. Don't comment. Don't. My voice stutters, a digital skip. Don't. The audio cuts completely. My mouth keeps moving in silence, but the subtitles auto-generate at the bottom of the screen, word for word. Don't close the window. Continue. The image freezes, the cursor appearing for just a second before fading. When the video resumes, I'm smiling again, posture perfect, expression placid. Anyway, I say softly, thank you for listening. Stay safe out there. And remember, not every game wants to be played. The frame begins to fade to black, the standard YouTube outro music faintly audible. Then, just before it cuts, there's one last flicker of movement, the reflection in my monitor. It blinks. I don't. The outro music distorts into static. The screen text updates once more, automatically. Saving file. File name, recording_03.mp4. Then silence. And just for a second, so brief most viewers would miss it. White text flashes against the black. Would you like to continue?